Hello and welcome to Course 3, Advanced Lessons in CodeJumper. This is Lesson 16 on topologies. So the overview of this lesson is that students will understand the benefits and drawbacks of different topologies. All students will be able to state that a topology is a way of laying out a network. Most students will be able to name the three main topologies and explain how they are laid out. And some students may be able to explain the advantages and disadvantages of each type of topology. Again, the lesson plan structure is a little bit different. We have our objectives, and then we just have our lesson activity and, of course, the standards and check for understanding at the end. Let's go over our key vocabulary. So a topology is how a network is organized, laid out, and connected. And we have three different types of networks that our students will be creating. We have a ring network, which is a network topology where the devices are connected in a circle. A bus network, which is a topology where devices are connected in a line. And a star network, where devices are all connected to a central device. So let's get going on our activity. So the objective is the students will understand the three different types of networks. And in this lesson, students will create these networks in a simulation for the bus, the ring, and the star topologies in different networks. So how are we going to do that? Let's start with our bus network. Okay, so our bus network is in the line, one after another. So what we're going to have is students standing in a line. And on the screen, I have it simulated as little blue squares, each with a number, 1, 2, 3, 4. So our students are all standing in a line with maybe as much space as you can give in between them, maybe 3 feet in between them. And they all have a number. And then to simulate that network pathway, they have a string. So on the screen, we have a line connecting 1, 2, 3, 4 students. So we have a line. Okay, so now we need to send our packets of data. So that's where we have a card attached to a paper clip, and we can attach it to the line to send our information down. So on the screen, I have all 4 of our students holding on to the string, and then hanging off of it, I have our 4 network packets in different orders. I have 1 on the far right, then I have 3 to the left of that one, 2 to the left, and 4 to the left of that. So they're kind of in between all of the students. So they're going to be sending their information back and forth, but there are some pitfalls to having a bus network. The information can go back and forth, but if they collide, they get sent back to the beginning because they can't pass each other. It's like a one-lane road, like a bus on a one-lane road. You can only go one direction at a time. And if they collide, you're sent back to the beginning. You have to start again. And then what happens if we have a break in the line? So the teacher can come and cut that string. The whole thing falls down. You can't work. So if there's a break in the bus network line, the whole network goes down. So that's a downfall of having a bus network. There's not any safety net there. All right. So then we have our ring network. So on the screen and in real life, we'll have students standing around a circle. So I have 4 students holding onto the string in a circle. So now we're kind of in this line. And we're going to send our packets of information. So I have our 4 students standing as far apart inside the circle as they can, holding the string. Now we have packets of information, 1 hanging out in between 1 and 2, 1 between 2 and 3, 1 between 3 and 4, 1 between 4 and 1. So we have 4 information. So they need to get to the correct person. So you put them in your envelope. You hang your card on the string by the paper clip. That's your transmitter. And you start pushing them around until they get to the correct person. But what's interesting is, so the data can go both directions. But again, if they collide, they have to start over again. Was the difference between a bus and a ring network is if you are to cut between 1 and 2, you still can go that other direction to pass it because it's going in a circle. So that connection between 1 and 2 may be broken, but 2 can send it to 3, 3 can send it to 4, and 4 can send it to 1. It can go the other direction to get there. It doesn't have to go just between that 1 and 2. So that's a ring network going in a circle. The last one is a star network. And this one starts out with a switch. So we have someone standing in the middle, that is the switch. And then we have 3 students standing around the outside, each holding a string that goes to the switch. So if I'm sending a piece of information, so I have a packet going from 3 that needs to get to 2. So I have my packet of information hanging on the string with that paper clip by 3. It can then get sent to the switch. Then the switch looks at it and goes, oh, I need to send this to 2. And then it can be sent over. 4 pieces of information on there. So 3 has 1 to send to 1, 2 has 1 to send to 3. Now what happens if we break a connection here is that if you cut that 1 to 1, only 1 is broken. 2 and 3 can still work. So they still can work because if they have that switch monitoring it. So at the end of the day, the students can then each do these different kinds of networks, and then they can share with their classmates of what type of network they represented, what type of topology, how did it work? Did it work well? What were the downfalls? And then once the group has shared, they can the disadvantages and advantages. And then as a class, they can decide what is most reliable. And actually it's the star because if one connection breaks, the rest of the network will continue to work. Then they can brainstorm on ideas. What would be the cheapest and the easiest to install? Well, that line, a straight line is always the easiest, but it's the least amount of wires, least amount of computer, that kind of thing, but not the most reliable. So this is our lesson on topologies. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you again.